Is Francis Gary Powers, Jr., the son of the American pilot who just saw in this report. Francis, thanks very much for being here with us in the studio today. I understand this is your third time in Russia, so how significant is it for you to be here on this anniversary?
Well, this is the 50th anniversary, so of all the anniversaries to come to Moscow, this is the most important. We figured this was the best way to promote Cold War history and the need to preserve it on the 50th anniversary.
Well, according to some history books, this incident set back talks between Khrushchev and Eisenhower for years. So how do you think things would have been different if this incident hadn't happened?
Well, you have to remember that May 1st, 1960 through October of 62 was the two most tense years of the Cold War, ending in the Cuban Missile Crisis. Between that time period, you have the erection of the Berlin Wall and the Bay of Pigs. Had my father not been shot down, it's hard to figure out what exactly would happen. But I think that the Berlin Wall would have still gone up. I think the Cuban Missile Crisis would have still happened. But the results could have been much different.
Well, and here's a personal question for you there. What was it like for you growing up knowing that your father was labeled a spy?
Well, as a kid, I was aware that my father had been shot down over the Soviet Union, imprisoned by the KGB, and ultimately exchanged for a Soviet spy. But as a kid, growing up in this family, it was all very normal. It's something we talked about. It was something I was aware of. I thought everybody's dad was like that. That perception changed on August 1st when he passed away.
Did it in any way complicate your life?
I was very introverted throughout high school. I didn't understand why the press would call the house to ask questions or why friends at school would tell me something they knew about my father. So it complicated it in that it took me several years to adjust to it and get accustomed to it and comfortable with talking about it.
How old were you when you first learned about it?
I was about 10 years old when I discovered an encyclopedia in our basement, and I was reading through it. So it wasn't somebody
that told you about it, you just discovered it through reading books?
I was aware of it. I knew about it. It was normal. I didn't think it was abnormal. And then I saw this article in the encyclopedia about my father and the U-2 incident, and I was confused. So I went up to my mom and I asked her some questions, and she said, oh yes, your father was shot down. He's very famous because of what he went through, and this is what it talks about in the encyclopedia. So it was very interesting to have to come to this realization at a young age through an encyclopedia.
Okay. Well, let's switch gears now and talk about Russia-U.S. relations. As you know, there have been highs and lows in the history of relations between the two countries. So how do you see them developing in the future?
Well, right now, I think the relations are on a very good track. We've just had Putin and Obama in Prague signing the START treaty. Relations are improving, and I hope that it continues to improve. There's no need to go back to the Cold War era between the tensions that were so 50 years of our lives.
Absolutely. Well, Francis Gary Powers, Jr., thanks very much indeed for being here with us in the program and sharing your thoughts with us here.
All right, Marina, thank you very much.